His autopsy revealed that he had cat litter and animal hair in his stomach. He had a fractured skull. All this because his parents believed he was gay. The nightmare that came to an end after the beating from a mother and her boyfriend, of course, with the help of Child Protective Services. Hello, my name is Brian Lara. I am here today to talk about how Child Protective Services failed Gabriel Fernandez. In my first main point, I will be talking about who Gabriel Fernandez is and where he comes from. In my second main point, I will be going over how Child Protective Services failed him, what are Child Protective Services, and why he was put into Child Protective Services without the notice of abuse. In my third main point, I will discuss his story and how it ended the way it did, and what are the consequences for those who caused harm to him. In my first main point, I will talk about who Gabriel Fernandez is and where he comes from. Gabriel Fernandez was born February 21st, 2005. He died May 24th, 2013. He was an 8-year-old boy at the time he had died. A sweet child who liked to be helpful and, even though abused by his parents, loved them very much. Gabriel was shuffled between homes throughout his childhood. Gabriel lived with an uncle. He lived with various relatives before being passed down eventually to his mother and her boyfriend. Footage at the time shows that he was happy and he was healthy with his uncle and other relatives. In my second point, I will be going over Child Protective Services, why he was put into Child Protective Services, and who noticed the abuse. After joining his mother and her boyfriend, Gabriel landed at a new school, and the teacher noticed the signs of abuse. A couple weeks after he started in her class, Gabriel asked her, "Is it normal to be hit by my mother? Is it normal to be bleeding? And is it normal to be hit by a belt buckle?" All those questions seemed very odd to her. She then reported those to Child Protective Services and the school board. However, all these attempts of her trying to help Gabriel did not result in success. They accordingly did not do anything to help him. So, investigators never spoke with the neighbors or school personnel. That is a question that has yet to be resolved. Gabriel wrote several notes saying he wanted to kill himself. Gabriel's therapist informed the Child Protective Services, but they took no action. In my third main point, I will discuss why his story ended the way it did. What are the consequences for the people who knew harm was being caused to him but did nothing in return? A list of people, which includes his parents, which were abusers, and social workers who overlooked the signs of abuse and were ignorant of his case. The fact that Gabriel's suffering went unaddressed by the people charged with protecting him was a staggered failure of the Department of Child Services. During the 7 months when caseworkers were assigned to overlook Gabriel, they failed to intervene. According to the grand jury testimony obtained by the Los Angeles Times, Gabriel's siblings said, I quote, "He was forced to eat cat litter and was kept in a cabinet in his mother's room. So they did this because they initially thought he was gay. And the reason they thought he was gay was because he liked playing with dolls." At one point, social workers even told Gabriel to stop lying about his conditions and what actually happened to him. In conclusion, I hope to have emphasized how important Child Protective Services are and how crucial it can be for a child when dealing with life-threatening abuse and neglect. And also to not dismiss the fact that though the intervention of Child Protective Services are good, some workers do not fulfill their duties and the lives of children like Gabriel Fernandez are lost. Thank you.